Welcome to Arsh Just Normal, where OP's psycho mother-in-law has been secretly breaking into her house for 2 years, trying on her clothes and spying on her private medical records. And when OP finally catches her on camera, let's just say handcuffs get involved. Buckle up because this story is wild. Our first Reddit post comes from user Throwaway Milkies, and honestly, the title alone made my skin crawl. My MIL has been secretly copying my house keys and breaking into my home while we're at work. Okay, so OP is a 32-year-old woman, happily married to her husband for 5 years. They live about 20 minutes away from her in-laws, which honestly should be far enough for boundaries, right? Wrong, because apparently her mother-in-law thinks that distance is more like a suggestion than an actual, boundary. So, OP starts noticing weird things happening around the house. At first, it's small stuff. Things aren't quite where she left them. Like, she'd swear she put her coffee mug in the dishwasher, but then it's in the cupboard. Or her hairbrush would be on the opposite side of the bathroom counter. Now at first, OP thought she was just being forgetful. You know how it is. You're stressed, working full-time, maybe you moved the thing and forgot. But then the incident started getting more frequent. And weirder, food would go missing from the fridge. Not like an entire leftover container, but like someone had eaten half of her lunch and put it back. Who does that? And sometimes OP would notice her clothes smelled different, like someone else's perfume, a perfume she didn't own. OP starts noticing that some of her more personal items have been moved. We're talking underwear drawers, private documents, even her laptop being in a slightly different position on her desk. So OP does what any rational person would do. She asks her husband if he's been rearranging things or if maybe they had a break-in. Husband is totally confused because nothing seems stolen and he hasn't noticed anything weird. But here's the kicker. OP mentions the perfume smell and her husband goes completely pale. Because that perfume? That's his mother's signature scent. Now, OP is not jumping to conclusions yet, because who would? The idea that your mother-in-law is breaking into your house sounds insane. So she and her husband decide to ask the MIL if she's been stopping by. Giving her the benefit of the doubt. Mill acts all innocent and sweet. Oh no, honey, I would never come over without calling first. That would be so rude, but OP isn't convinced. Call it gut instinct, call it paranoia, but something felt off. So OP decides to install hidden security cameras. Not the obvious ones by the front door. She already had those, and they showed nothing. No, she installed hidden ones inside the house. In the living room, the hallway, and, this is important, one pointed at her home office desk where she keeps her laptop. And then, OP and her husband go to work like normal. They don't tell anyone about the cameras. Not the husband's mom, not their friends, nobody. That very same day, the camera catches everything. So OP is at work, and she gets a motion alert on her phone from the camera app. She checks it, expecting maybe the cat knocked something over. But no, there is her mother-in-law, letting herself into the house with a key. A key that OP and her husband definitely did not give her. OP is watching this in real time, and she's absolutely frozen. Mill goes to the kitchen, makes herself a snack, eating OP's food, by the way, and then starts just wandering around. And it gets so much worse. Mill goes into their bedroom. She opens OP's closet and starts trying on her clothes. We're talking dresses, jackets, even jewelry. She's literally playing dress up in OP's wardrobe like some kind of psycho, single white female situation. OP is recording all of this on her phone from the app, just absolutely shaking with rage and horror. But she doesn't leave work yet. She wants to see what else this woman is going to do. Then MIL moves to the bathroom and starts going through their medicine cabinet. OP sees her taking pictures of prescription bottles with her phone. Then she goes to the home office. And this is where OP's blood runs cold. Because her MIL sits down at OP's laptop and tries to open it. Now the laptop is password protected, so MIL can't get in. But she tries multiple passwords, and OP realizes she's trying to guess based on personal information. Birthdays, anniversaries, their dog's name. OP has fertility treatment records on that laptop, private medical information, emails with her doctor. This woman is trying to access the most intimate details of OP's medical journey. So OP immediately calls her husband at work and is like, "Your mother is in our house right now. She has a key. She's trying to hack into my laptop. I have it all on camera." Husband doesn't believe her at first. Like, his brain literally cannot process that his mother would do this. But OP sends him a screenshot from the camera, and he goes silent. Then he says he's leaving work right now and will meet her at home. OP also calls the non-emergency police line because, hello, this is breaking and entering and trespassing. By the time OP and her husband get home, the MIL has left. But everything is documented on camera. OP and her husband review the footage together, and the husband is just destroyed. He's watching his mother violate their privacy in the most disturbing ways, and you can see his entire worldview crumbling. But here's what really breaks him. In the footage, after MIL couldn't get into the laptop, she opened OP's desk drawers and started photographing documents, insurance papers, bank statements. And this made OP want to scream, a folder containing their fertility clinic paperwork with details about their IVF cycle. The husband sees his mother literally stealing information about their private medical decisions, and he just loses it. Starts crying, keeps saying, I'm so sorry, I had no idea." So the police arrive, and OP shows them everything. The officer watches the footage and immediately confirms this is criminal trespassing. They ask OP if she wants to press charges, and OP says absolutely yes. Turns out, when they check the timestamps, this isn't even the first time. OP goes back through weeks of footage and finds that MIL had been entering their home approximately 2 to 3 times per week for potentially years. She'd been doing this the entire time. The police go to MIL's house to question her. According to the husband who talked to his dad later, MIL initially tried to deny everything. "I would never do that. That's my key that they gave me." Except, they never gave her a key. So the police ask her where she got the key. And MIL's story starts falling apart. Eventually, she admits that she'd been making copies of their house key whenever she visited in the early years of their marriage. She'd say, "Oh, can I borrow your keys to grab something from your car?" And then she'd drive to a hardware store and make a copy before returning them. She'd collected multiple keys over time. She just waited until the next visit and copied the new one. The police arrested her right there for trespassing, breaking and entering, and attempted computer tampering. So here's where things stand now. MIL was charged with multiple counts of criminal trespassing. Because this happened over such a long period of time, and with clear intent and documentation, the prosecutor decided to actually pursue the case. OP and her husband have changed all their locks, and this time, they went with smart locks that log every single entry. They've also installed cameras that they're not hiding, so it's very obvious their home is monitored. The husband has completely cut off contact with his mother. He's devastated, but he told OP that watching that footage was like seeing a stranger. He couldn't believe his own mother would violate them like that. They're in couples therapy now, working through the betrayal and trust issues, not with each other, but dealing with the trauma of what happened. Mill's husband, the father-in-law, is apparently mortified. He had no idea this was happening. He's been apologizing non-stop and has also cut contact with MIL, and they're apparently separated now. He told the husband that he supported pressing charges because what she did is unforgivable. MIL keeps trying to contact them through flying monkeys. Other family members saying things like, "She's your mother, and she just wanted to feel close to you, and she was worried about you." But OP and husband are holding firm. They've blocked her on everything. And get this, during the investigation, police found ML had a whole folder at her house with printed photos of OP and her husband's private documents. Like she was building some kind of surveillance file. It was so disturbing that even the police officers were like, "Yeah, this is stalker behavior." The trial is coming up in a few months, and OP says she's absolutely going to testify. She wants this on MIL's record, because she's genuinely concerned about what else this woman is capable of. Okay, I need a minute because this story made my skin crawl. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Absolute 0. You did everything right. You trusted your instincts, you gathered evidence, you protected yourself, and you pressed charges. This is exactly what you're supposed to do when someone violates your safety and privacy like this. Mother-in-law? 5 out of 5 buttholes. Actually, can I give her 6? Because this isn't just entitled behavior. This is criminal stalking. This woman was breaking into their home multiple times per week for years. She was trying on OP's clothes like some kind of horror movie villain. She was trying to access private medical records about their fertility journey, and she photographed their personal documents. This is beyond overbearing Mael territory. This is restraining order and criminal charges territory. This woman needs serious psychological help, and I'm genuinely glad she's facing legal consequences. And can we talk about the husband for a second? He gets 0 out of 5 buttholes too, because once he saw the evidence, he immediately took OP's side. He cut off his own mother, he's in therapy, he's processing his trauma. That's how you handle it when you discover your parent is a boundary-stomping criminal. To everyone watching, if you feel like something is off in your home, trust your gut. OP could have dismissed those weird feelings, but she didn't. She investigated, and she caught an absolute psycho in the act. I hope Mael gets the maximum sentence, and I hope OP and her husband can heal from this absolute violation of their safety and privacy. Am I the butthole for refusing to let my sister use my wedding venue after she called me a Bridezilla? Our next post comes from user Not Your Venue Bro, and honestly, the audacity of some people never ceases to amaze me. So OP is a 29-year-old bride-to-be who's been planning her wedding for over a year. She booked this absolutely beautiful venue, a historic estate with gardens, and it cost her and her fiancé a pretty penny. We're talking a $15,000 venue deposit alone. Now OP's younger sister, who's 26, recently got engaged like 3 months ago. So sister calls OP and asks about her wedding plans. OP excitedly tells her all about the venue, the decorations, the theme, normal bride stuff. And sister is like, oh, wow, that sounds amazing. You're so lucky you found such a great place. Seems innocent enough, right? Wrong. 2 days later, sister calls back and drops this bomb. So I was thinking, since you already have the venue booked and everything, maybe I could just piggyback on your reservation? We could do a double wedding. This is my wedding day. I don't want to share it. And sister loses it. Starts going on about how OP is being selfish and a bridezilla, and it's just one day and family is supposed to help each other. OP holds firm and says absolutely not. It's her day, she planned it, she paid for it, and she wants to celebrate her marriage without sharing the spotlight. Sister hangs up on her, and then the family chaos begins. Sister starts blowing up the family group chat, painting OP as this horrible, selfish bridezilla who won't even help her own sister. She's sending crying selfies, talking about how hurt she is, saying OP has always been jealous of her. Their mom calls OP and tries the guilt trip angle. Honey, couldn't you just share? It would be so special to have both my daughters married on the same day. Think of the family photos. OP explains that she doesn't want a double wedding. She's been planning this for a year. It's her day with her fiancé, and frankly, sister should have thought about venues earlier if she wanted to get married this year. Dad chimes in saying OP is being unnecessarily difficult and that compromising is part of being an adult. But here's the thing. Sister doesn't just want to share the ceremony. She wants to use OP's vendor contracts. The photographer, the DJ, the caterer, the florist, all the people OP spent months researching and booking. Sister basically wants to split everything 50-50 and have her own separate ceremony on a different date at the same venue using all of OP's vendors. OP contacts her venue coordinator to ask if this is even possible. And the coordinator is like, well, technically your contract allows you to transfer your date once with a fee, but we'd need your written permission, and all the vendor contracts are in your name, so they'd have to agree separately. So OP goes back to sister and says, even if I wanted to help, which I don't, this would require me to transfer my entire wedding, renegotiate with all my vendors, and potentially lose my date. So no, plan your own wedding. Sister then tries a different angle. She offers to pay OP $5,000 to buy the venue reservation and all the vendor contacts. Just straight up wants to take over OP's entire wedding plan. OP is like, I already paid $15,000 for the venue alone, plus deposits to 6 other vendors. You're trying to lowball me and steal my wedding. Absolutely not. This is where sister goes nuclear. She posts on Facebook about how OP is extorting her and refusing to help family, and tags like 30 relatives. She frames it as if OP is demanding money from her, not the other way around. So now OP is getting calls and texts from extended family members she hasn't talked to in years, all telling her she's being greedy and selfish. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone has an opinion. OP finally has enough. She screenshots the entire text conversation with her sister, including the part where sister offered money to buy the wedding, and posts it in response to sister's Facebook drama with this caption. Since we're airing family business publicly now, here's the actual conversation where my sister tried to take over my wedding that I've been planning for a year, offered me less than half of what I've already paid, and then called me a bridezilla when I said no. I'm not refusing to help family. I'm refusing to hand over my wedding day that I worked hard to plan and pay for. There's a difference. The family group chat exploded. Half the family started backpedaling hard. Suddenly, it was all, oh, we didn't know the full story and maybe we were too hasty. Sister deleted her Facebook post and sent OP a message saying, you just humiliated me in front of everyone. I'll never forgive you for this. OP's response? Good. Stay away from my wedding. So OP's wedding is in 2 months and sister is not invited anymore. OP uninvited her after the Facebook drama, and sister sent a final nasty text saying, fine, I didn't want to go to your stupid wedding anyway. Mom is trying to play peacemaker, but also keeps saying OP should have just helped and didn't need to embarrass her sister publicly. OP told Mom that sister embarrassed herself by lying to the family, and OP just corrected the record. Dad has gone quiet and apparently told OP's fiancé privately that he understands why she did what she did, but is disappointed it came to this. Which, okay, at least that's something. The best part? 2 of OP's cousins who saw the whole drama go down reached out and said, your sister has always been entitled and manipulative. Good for you for standing your ground. So at least OP has some family support. Sister ended up booking a completely different venue for half the price and is having a rustic barn wedding, which she's now claiming was her vision all along. Sure, OP's wedding planning is back on track, drama-free, and she says she's never been more excited to celebrate with people who actually support her. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. You planned your wedding, you paid for your wedding, and you have every right to have your day without someone trying to hijack it. The entitlement is off the charts. She got engaged 3 months ago, wants to rush a wedding, and instead of doing her own planning, she tries to literally steal her sister's entire wedding. Then when that doesn't work, she tries to buy it for a fraction of the cost, lies to the family about it, and plays victim on social media. Yikes. Mom and Dad get 2 out of 5 buttholes for the guilt tripping and not backing OP up from the start. Parents need to stop enabling entitled children and start recognizing manipulation when they see it. And honestly, OP posting those screenshots was chef's kiss. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, and when someone publicly lies about you, you have every right to publicly correct the record with receipts. To anyone dealing with entitled family members trying to hijack your special events, you don't owe them anything. Stand your ground. Am I the butthole for telling my husband's family they're not welcome at our house anymore after they ruined my son's birthday? Our final story comes from Exhausted Mom 2023, and oh boy, this one made me mad. OP is a 34-year-old mom with a 7-year-old son who has autism. Small guest list, quiet activities, his favorite foods, everything to make sure he'd have a great day. But her husband's family had other ideas. So OP explains that her son is pretty sensitive to loud noises, sudden changes, and crowds. She and her husband have worked really hard to help him develop coping strategies, and he's been doing great. But that means being mindful of his environment and not overwhelming him. She invited 4 of his friends from school, her parents, and her husband's parents and sister. That's it. Manageable, calm, predictable. She specifically told her husband's family, "We're keeping this small and quiet. Please don't bring extra people, and no surprise loud activities like party poppers or noisemakers. We want this to be comfortable for him." Everyone said they understood. Everyone lied. The day of the party arrives, and husband's parents show up with his sister and 3 of sister's kids that were not invited. These kids are between ages 4 and 9, and they are wild, running around screaming, grabbing toys. He starts stimming more, hand flapping, which he does when stressed, and retreats to a corner. OP tries to gently redirect the chaos, but Emil says, "Oh, they're just playing." He needs to learn to share and socialize. OP explains that this is too much, and could the extra kids maybe play outside or in another room? Sister gets offended and says OP is excluding her children and making them feel unwanted. But it gets worse. They do the birthday cake, and OP's son is starting to calm down a bit. He's sitting with his dad, and they're about to sing happy birthday quietly like they planned. But then Mael pulls out a huge box and yells, "Surprise!" Grandma has a special present, and before OP can stop her, Mill reveals a puppy. A living, actual 8-week-old puppy. OP and her husband did not agree to get a dog. They'd specifically discussed it and decided to wait until their son was older and could handle the responsibility. But Emil just got one anyway. Without asking, the kids go absolutely berserk. OP's son has a complete meltdown. He starts crying, covering his ears, and runs to his bedroom. Furious, she picks up the puppy, hands it back to Mile, and says, "You need to take this dog and leave." Mill clutches her pearls. "But it's a gift for my grandson. How can you be so ungrateful?" OP absolutely loses it. She says, "You brought uninvited children, ignored my son's needs, and brought a living animal into my home without permission. You've ruined his birthday, and you need to leave." Phil tries to defend Mill, saying OP is overreacting and being controlling. Sister joins in, saying OP is ridiculous for kicking out family over a little noise. Husband, bless him, steps up and says, "No, you all were told exactly what kind of party this would be, and you ignored it. My son is upstairs crying on his birthday because you couldn't respect basic boundaries. Get out." They argue for another 5 minutes, but eventually leave, taking the puppy with them. Sister makes a huge show of gathering her kids and saying loudly, "Come on, we're not wanted here." After they leave, OP goes upstairs to comfort her son. He's hiding under his bed, crying, saying, "Too loud, too many people. I don't like it." It breaks OP's heart. They spend the rest of the day, just the 3 of them, plus OP's parents, doing quiet activities. They relight the candles and sing softly. OP's son eventually recovers, but the damage is done. The next day, OP sends a text to the husband's family. "You are not welcome in our home anymore. You were told our son's boundaries, you ignored them, and you ruined his birthday. Until you can respect our parenting and our son's needs, stay away." Mael responds with a novel of a text about how OP is keeping her grandson away from her and punishing her for trying to do something nice. She claims the puppy was a generous gift, and OP is teaching her son to be ungrateful. OP blocks her. Husband blocks his family too. But the flying monkeys arrive. Other relatives start texting saying OP is overreacting and a puppy isn't that big of a deal, and kids need to learn to deal with chaos. OP's response to one of them was perfect. She said, "If you think respecting a neurodivergent child's needs is overreacting, then you're not someone I want around my son either." Husband's family is now trying to make amends, saying they'll do better, but OP isn't budging. She says they can see their grandson again when they take a class on autism, read the resources she sends them, and give a genuine apology to her son, not just to her. So far, crickets. OP gets 0 out of 5 buttholes. She is protecting her child and setting necessary boundaries. Full stop. Mother-in-law gets 5 out of 5 buttholes for bringing a puppy to a child's birthday party without asking the parents. That alone is insane. Add in ignoring the specific requests about keeping things calm, and she's a boundary-stomping nightmare. Sister gets 4 out of 5 buttholes for bringing her uninvited kids and then getting offended when called out. Phil gets 3 out of 5 buttholes for defending MIL instead of recognizing they screwed up. The extended family members defending them get 2 out of 5 buttholes for not understanding that neurodivergent kids have different needs. And the husband, 0 buttholes. He backed up his wife, defended his son, and kicked out his own family when they crossed the line. That's what good parenting looks like. You decide who gets access to your child. And if people can't respect your child's needs, they don't deserve to be in your child's life. OP, you're doing an amazing job. Your son is lucky to have parents who protect him. That was r/just normal, r/wedding shaming, and r/entitled parents, and wow, what a lineup. From psycho mother-in-laws breaking into houses, to entitled sisters trying to steal weddings, to grandparents who think they know better than parents. These stories remind us that boundaries exist for a reason. If you liked this content, be sure to check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes so you can listen on the go. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Your choice.